Good morning. It's 10-minute Tuesday. It is the morning, not the afternoon. I'm out here with the noisy road once again. I don't know why we gotta have so much traffic. So the 10-minute Tuesday question, a subscriber asked or was curious about my public education in the Amish community. Now most Amish people attend private schools, but we were fortunate enough to go to public school. So we'll get into that, but first I'll give you a garden update. I don't know if most of you probably aren't interested, but some of you are. So let me flip you around, and here we go. So the corn is doing really well. We have a few stalks that are ready to give us some food, and then the rest of it is probably another week or two that we can freeze. Potatoes are doing well. I do need to go through and spray for that stupid morning glory bindweed. The onions, I don't know if those are supposed to be taller than they are. I'm curious about them. The peas are, so our radishes, we didn't eat them fast enough, so they're just in seed now, and they're gonna probably get picked today. The peas are pretty much done. We're pulling those plants, and oh my gosh, we had this all weeded. The raspberries all weeded. Now it looks like we got to weed again. All right, we'll do it again. And our tomatoes have taken over. My wife planted this. She likes a lot of tomatoes because she likes doing salsas and stuff. But they're huge. I'm kind of curious about these heirloom ones that are coming on. Where are they? Right there. They're cherry tomatoes of different colors. They look cool. So the tomatoes are coming on. They just haven't turned red. And then our cucumbers, pickles, whatever you call them. Maybe there's two different things. With a random pumpkin that decided to come up in the middle of it all and take it over. But it's got some beautiful pumpkins. Our chickens are pretty much fully grown. These ones still aren't laying. The young ones still aren't laying. There's two roosters, one of which we got to get rid of. How are you up there? Yeah, focus. This old Smoky is what the girls call them. Her. So then we have our funky mohawk looking ones. They are white crested Polish. They just look funny. They like hanging around our Barnavillers, I don't know, which are younger. They're still not fully grown. But, ladies, it's time to pay your rent. All of you. The old ones have given their due. You young ones, pay up. These guys are super noisy. They have started laying. We found an egg in the strawberry patch. And then we have a skinny pig and a fat pig. Old Flash here is chubby. I don't think he's so flashy or so speedy. He's a chubs. He's still a little skittish. Freckles must be in the house. He's the skinny one. Other than this bindweed problem we have, I am really excited about this Back to Eden, the wood chips. It just keeps the moisture in the ground. It keeps some of the weeds down. I know it doesn't look like it. But it is, I love it. I think it's going to be great. So let's go inside and talk about schooling. So the question of the day. I was sent to public school. What made my parents decide to send us to public schools? What were they worried about the worldly influence on us? What did other Amish neighbors think about us, our parents making that decision? What's going on with that? So I was raised in the LaGrange, Elkhart County, Indiana Amish communities. It is a more liberal community, and a lot of us Amish kids went to the public schools. Now, full disclosure, A lot of Amish communities, probably the majority of them, do not send their kids to normal schools. They send them to private Amish schools taught by Amish teachers. Our community was okay with it. I'm guessing Holmes County was. I'm not sure about any of the, the Lancaster County and Pennsylvania. But we attended Westview School Corporations, which meant that it was kind of a weird deal. So we had Shipshe Scott Elementary, which was in Shipshewana, Indiana. And then there was Topeka Elementary, which was in Topeka. And then there was Honeyville Elementary. And those 3 elementary schools were from kindergarten to 4th grade. And then they all combined to a middle school in Topeka, or Emma, Indiana, not Topeka. So we attended, my family attended Shipshe Scott until the 4th grade. Then we bussed on to Emma, which held our middle school. Westview, I don't know what it was called, Westview Middle School probably. And then next door was the high school, so we went to the middle school for 5th and 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade was attended at the high school, Westview High School. We had state champion basketball team out of there, the Yoder boys. About half of the school of Westview Corporation until the 8th grade are Amish kids, or were when I attended school. I don't know what it's like now. But so about in the 8th grade, about half of the kids graduated. Why did our parents decide to send us to public schools? I'm not exactly sure. One reason might be because of money. Amish in Elkhart, LaGrange County, they pay taxes. They pay income taxes. They pay property taxes like anybody else does. So when they do choose to send their kids to a private Amish school, they have to pay tuition on top of already paying for public schools, right? So it's a lot cheaper just sending us kids to public schools. We got discounted meals. It's just easier. I don't know how much private schools charged, so I don't know what the cost was on that. But obviously they have to pay a teacher and buildings or whatever. I don't know. It was just kind of expensive. So that's probably one reason. Another reason, I'm not sure. I don't know if there is another reason. I know my dad attended private Amish schools his whole childhood, but my mom attended public schools. My guess it came down to convenience, and because the bus picked us up, right? So we didn't have to have an extra horse and cart or bikes to get to the school. The bus came by, picked us up. It's easy. What did other Amish people around us think of my parents' decisions? Well, most of them were doing the same thing, so it was just the norm there, right? I'm sure we had a couple private or a couple strict churches close to us. I'm sure they looked down on us for making that decision. Because most Amish communities, especially the strict ones, would think that that's too worldly to send their kids to public schools. And were they worried that it would influence us in any way? For sure. Probably my mom more than my dad. Obviously, I think we were at that point taught the Big Bang Theory and all this scientific dating that's just garbage, right? So our parents had to come back and undo that, or make sure that we're not falling for that lie and that we still believe in creation. And I'm going to get the comments, I know. Yeah, Big Bang Theory doesn't add up, guys. Creation. When you really do all the arguments, you get down to the moral argument, the logical argument, there has to be a creator. It's no other way. I'm not going to get into that argument. There's plenty of other people on YouTube who do. You just can't get around that fact. And since there is a creator, there is a higher being, the one that has the most evidence is God, the God of the Bible, the great Yahweh. Yeah. Obviously now schools are teaching even worse things. So We have to do that with our kids nowadays. They come home from school and learn this. We have to say, no, that's not true. This is what's true. It's just the fight, right? So some parents homeschool too in the Amish community, which I think is the best option for anybody. I am excited that a ton of people in 2020 picked up homeschooling. I think that is a step in the positive direction for our nation, for our people. We still send our kids to public schools. Me and my wife were just not at the place to be homeschooling, at least at the moment. Fortunately, the two youngest go to Castleford, which is a small school in a very conservative community, so still not as bad as other public schools in bigger cities. Fortunately, it's an excuse, I guess. Homeschool if you can, just over and over. Homeschooling parents say that their kids are testing at a higher intelligence level. They're learning faster and more than public school kids. And I can see that because the kids are learning at their speed, not at the slowest kid in class's speed. Just kind of makes sense. If I was Amish, would I send my kids to public school or private school? I would not send them to a private Amish school. I always notice that the kids coming from the private Amish schools tend to be more cocky, tend to be more rude. We who went to the public schools, us Amish kids were second class. We were not the cool kids. We were, I think, kept more in check. Not that the non-Amish kids were rude to us or mistreated us. They didn't at all. It was just that was just the norm for them too, right? Half of their classmates were Amish, and we kind of stayed. Amish kids stayed with the Amish kids. Non-Amish kids just hung out with. It was just the more natural way of doing things, and there were still friends across the border, right? There was a couple non-Amish kids that we were friends with. I went over to a non-Amish kid's house for the night, right? And vice versa. We were not kept from outside world, the people, right? We were fortunately allowed to mingle somewhat. And people have this viewpoint where Amish communities are isolated, and they're not. There's a lot of Amish men, though. They know the feed truck driver, they know the milkman, they know the business owners in town, and they'll go have breakfast with them, and they'll go do stuff. It's just they're friends, and they get along, they understand each other, they get to know each other really well, and it's just they have great relationships. So hopefully that answers that question. I don't know if I hit all topics. I have some strong viewpoints on school and how our kids should be educated. Just a little hint, it is pretty much aligned with Joas Miller's beliefs and his views on schooling. So Joas Miller is the husband of Priscilla Miller. They have the Montana Haven YouTube channel. They live in Montana. Great channel. Go check them out. My views run right along with his, and a little bit of Louis L'Amour's. So what are his views? I will do a video on education, indoctrination camps, all that sometime later. You might have noticed in my video or my shots of the garden that there might be a new addition to the family. I don't know if you caught that or not. If you didn't, I'll introduce that new member in a future video. Thank you for watching. I'm CJ. This is the Amish Potato, 10 Minute Tuesday. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. We will see you next time.